Joined now by Senator Michael Bennet from Washington. Senator, thank you for your time.
Thanks for making time for me.
Senator, Republicans' plans for tax reform call for a reduction in the corporate tax rate. Do you think that everyday Coloradans would see some benefit from that?
Well, I think the country would see benefit from it if it were done properly by closing loopholes and reducing the debt, the tax rate. There's no question that we have the highest tax rate in the world. What I think is not right is asking the middle class in America to give up tax benefits to pay for those tax rates to a degree. And what I really don't support is the idea of reducing them and having the resultant increase in our budget deficit.
Republicans are clearly hungry for some kind of a legislative accomplishment to take to voters, which strikes me as that this might be a time to find some compromise and have everybody get what they want. Is that playing out behind the scenes at all?
No, unfortunately it's not. Today, they still haven't given the American people the opportunity to see the actual text of their bill, nor have they given it to the Finance Committee. And then after they went and had lunch today, they came back and it was leaked that they're actually adding the repeal of the individual mandate to a tax bill. So what they couldn't accomplish in their prior attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, they are now going to try to do in tax reform, which obviously makes it radioactive to anybody who's worried about the 13 million people that are going to lose their health insurance as a result of what they're doing. So we are back once again to square one. I hope that if we can defeat this and put it behind us, that we can work on a bipartisan bill that would lower the corporate rate, that would bring money back from overseas and invest it in infrastructure, that would give an increase to the child tax credit that families in Colorado and across the country really need, and that frankly would be a real middle-class tax cut. That's what I think we should do, and I think there's bipartisan support for all of those things because there are elements of those things in this legislation as well as in other proposals that have been made in the Senate. It's not a functional body right now is the problem.
Your Senate colleague from Colorado, Republican Cory Gardner, is calling on the Senate to expel Roy Moore if he is elected by Alabama voters despite the allegations of sexual assault on a child against him. The Senate hasn't expelled members since members of the Confederacy back during the Civil War. Would you vote to expel Roy Moore from the Senate?
Well, it's not in front of us today. I'm glad Cory Gardner has said what he has said. It means a lot coming from the the chair of the Republican Senate Campaign Committee, and I would support that effort if, in fact, Roy Moore gets elected. My hope is that he will not be elected.
It's clear that American attitudes are really shifting on when to believe women who come forward with claims of sexual harassment and sexual assault. And I think of the women who came forward years ago and were attacked rather than believed. So I want to ask you, if the women who accused former President Bill Clinton of rape and sexual assault want to tell their stories again, do you think they should be believed?
Well, Kyle, that's such a general question. I think that every victim of sexual assault should have an opportunity to tell their story and in the way that they can feel most comfortable doing it. And I think that's part of what we need to do here in the Senate is make sure that there is an opportunity not just for reporting, but also to give people the chance to be able to have their stories heard. And I think we'll be working on that here.
And just to tie that up, do you feel like it's fair to re-examine past cases that were viewed through a different eye, a different time in society?
I think that it's never fair not to listen to the voices of victims.
All right, Senator Bennet, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you taking a moment during a busy day.
Thank you.